Welcome to College Cooking Show, the show that brings the University of Texas at Tyler to you. Here's the host today, Mr. Brandon Noble.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to have my own show today. So today, in the midst of finals here at UT Tyler, I'm going to teach you how to make a simple meal with just chicken. You know, it doesn't take too long to cook it, about 45 minutes, but it's well worth it, and it's pretty cost efficient too. You can get these chicken breasts, a pack of 10, at your local convenience store or Walmart or Brookshire's. It comes in various sizes. Sometimes Brookshire's puts a sale on for buy one, get one for a penny, so you can get two for the price of one, which is great being in college. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my dry rub. First, I'm going to use lemon pepper sauce. And with the dry rub, it's kind of just like do it your own. I kind of just throw a little bit in there and go with how I feel. I don't really measure it out because, you know, I don't like to measure it out. I don't like math. So I just kind of do what I want. And next I'm going to use some Cajun seasoning. With that Cajun seasoning, it's just value time. You can get it at Brookshire's or you can get the Walmart brand. It's just whatever you're at and feel like. Once again, I kind of just go a little bit because the Cajun seasoning's pretty strong and you don't want to overdo it. Next, this is my secret ingredient, guys. I use cinnamon. You may say cinnamon with chicken doesn't sound too good, but it really brings out the flavor, and it brings out the juices and adds great flavor to it. And so I'm gonna add a little bit, not too much, because once again, these are all strong flavors, and I add a little too much, but that's okay. I can overdo that. Next, I use chili powder. That brings out some more flavor, adds a little bit of spice, because let's face it, we're in Texas and everybody loves spice. If not, well, then you're probably not from Texas. I add just a teensy tiny bit because I don't want to, whoever eats this, I don't want to overbear their power with the chili powder. Next, I go with the Lawry seasoned salt. My grandparents use this at home, and I kind of just play around with it. I don't really ever know what I'm doing. I just kind of go with it, and it usually tastes pretty good. And now everybody asks me to cook this meal for them every once in a while, so I really do like it. You know, it kind of looks like it would be dark, but it's really just kind of a lighter substance. The Lawry's, I'm assuming we got it at Walmart or Brookshire's. Next, I add some meat tenderizer, if I can keep from knocking things down. I use the meat tenderizer to tenderize the meat just a little, and it makes it cook better. Now with this meal, you can make it for your family, you know, trying to make a quick meal, you know, if you're bored, you just want to eat something. Chicken's always good. Everybody loves chicken, and it's probably the healthiest thing you can cook because obviously I'm going to bake it and put it in a foil pan. Next, I'm going to use mesquite seasoning. You know, you might say, well, that's used for the grill, but I like it because what you're going to do is the flavor's going to soak into the chicken. So you want to add different flavors and make sure that it tastes wonderful and you have a little bit of everything in there. Next, everybody loves Tony Creole's, or Tony Chachere's, Creole seasoning. I got it. I'm going to add, I use a lot of that because it's strong, but it's pretty good. And with that being said, I'm going to not make a mess like that. Add a little bit more because I keep stirring it all over the place. But once you get done, you want to make sure that it's nice and mixed together, and you'll experience a strong smell from it. I forgot to mention, guys, if you're going to be messing with other people's food, make sure that you are washing your hands and don't touch the raw chicken and then go back to a cooked chicken and then back to a raw chicken because I've got the example here. So I've got that. The next part is pretty easy. And gonna add a little bit more meat tenderizer, and when we get back from the break from our sponsor, I'm gonna show you how to cook it and go over it. Wow. What, sweetie? I don't know what she is saying. I should probably call her mother.
Hello?
I can't understand the baby.
I just bought a baby translator. I programmed it just for the baby. Just attach the baby around the waist and turn it on.
I would like VeggieTales.
I can understand the baby just as mommy. Hi, welcome back. Thank you for that wonderful message from our sponsors. So before we left, I was just making up my, well, it's not really famous yet, but one day it's going to be famous, and you're going to remember the name Brandon Noble with my dry rub. Basically, I'm using just different seasonings. I kind of made a mess, and it messed it up a little, so I'm going back and adding just a little bit of everything just to make sure that it has a great flavor. I add some more chili. Now, what I really like to use this for is when my family's out of town and they don't leave anything for me to eat, and we usually keep some chicken breasts in the freezer, and so I'll just whip it out real quick and thaw it. It usually takes about, if you put it in lukewarm water, it'll take about an hour or two to fully thaw out the chicken. I have the pre-thawed out chicken right here. So what I'm gonna do is I've got a foil pan. I think it's 8x10. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember what I bought. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chicken breast and put them in there nice and however you can get it to fit. The more space you have, the better. It'll let it cook better. And what I do is I take it. I usually use a bowl because the bowl is just easier to use your fingers and go like this to sprinkle it. But I'm going to take it a good pinch full, and then I'm going to pinch it over the breasts. And then I'll go back and rub it. Make sure it's good on both sides. And just keep it rubbing it until it's kind of faded into the chicken and it looks like it belongs on the chicken. I know that sounds weird. And then after you get the one side done, you're going to turn it over and flip it. You're going to do the same thing again. You know, just kind of make it a masterpiece of art with your chicken. That sounds great. I like to make sure it's nice and you can see it's pretty well covered so it can saturate through when you're cooking it. Next, I'm going to go to the bigger pieces. With the bigger pieces, don't be afraid to add a lot more because obviously there's a lot more space to take and you're just covering it. You're kind of painting with your finger. Hey, you could call it finger painting with food if you really wanted to. So, keep flipping it over. Now make sure that you got all your dry rub covered up. Make sure it's good and covered. Now I have used this for Thanksgiving one year, so you can just pop it out and show your lover or your family that you learned something in school this year by cooking. Now, what I'm gonna do next, what I would do next is preheat the oven to about 375, and usually about this time, once I've got the meat all covered and to the point where I want it, I'm gonna get out a vegetable. Usually, me being from Texas and American, I'm gonna want mashed potatoes, green beans, fried okra. You may say, well, fried okra is not very healthy, but boy, does it taste good with baked chicken. Let me tell you, just try it. I dare you. I'm gonna add a little bit more because I didn't cover it all the way. And with this, it always helps to have paper towels on hand because, as you can see, it's a little messy. Let's be real, that's kind of messy. But my favorite thing to cook with this chicken breast is definitely mashed potatoes, and I'll use a homemade mashed potato usually. You can buy a pack at Brookshire's and Walmart for pretty cheap. Idaho potatoes work best, and some of you will like the skin in there. I'll leave about halfway in, half of the skin on there, and that's about. It'll add some flavor, and then I'll add some bacon and some cheese on top of it, and it brings out a lot of good taste with the chicken. Now, once the oven's heated and you got your oven at 375, you're gonna stick it in there, wrap it with some foil. You're gonna stick it after you wrap it with the foil. You're gonna stick it into the oven and cook it for about 45, 50 minutes. You want to make sure that the meat is nice and tender. When you cut through it, you shouldn't have any problems. It should be clear white, no pink, unless you like it a little bit raw. But I don't think anybody really likes their chicken that way. But after that, it's pretty simple. You just pull it out with some oven pads and make sure you don't burn yourself. And thank you for joining me today, and I hope that y'all enjoy this recipe. And y'all can try.